My mom didn't let me kill my classmate for $400 and I'm still salty about it. This was like over a year ago, so some of the details for this story are a little fuzzy, especially since the story's so complicated. Whole lot of details. Also, I'm going to follow a script slash notes for this video because unlike my last video about how my Discord mommy betrayed me, there's a lot to this that I want to cover, and it would be super disorganized if I just freeballed it, so I might talk a little bit differently. I mean, it's probably going to end up disorganized anyways because I don't want to spend forever writing the script, so I'm just going to get into it now. There's this game called Senior Assassin that I played with my senior class in high school. I don't really know how popular it is or if most schools do it or not, so I'm just going to quickly explain it and the rules that we decided to use. Every player is assigned a target that they must eliminate with a water gun or really just get them wet in any kind of way by the end of the week. And your target's phone's location is given to you, which updates every 10 minutes instead of being live because they want you to pay for that feature. And this cycle repeats weekly until there's one player left. Also, if you kill someone, then you inherit their target, but you don't have to get them out because you only have to kill one person per week. But you can kill extra people for fun. But at the start of every week, you get a new randomly assigned target anyways. You are immune to death during school, work, and sports if you play any. And the 5 minutes before school and work, you're also immune to death if you are wearing goggles or floaties, the catch being that you look stupid by wearing them. However, occasionally there are purge events, which for the duration of them, goggles and floaties do nothing. An important note about getting your target is that you have to film it and upload it onto the app that we used so that the kill is actually confirmed and people don't just cap about their kills. And my favorite part, you get money when you win. You have to pay $10 to play, and the winner gets all the money in the prize pool. So there was like 40 people, which means the prize was like $400. So this game really brought out my inner psychopath because I poured like hella hours into stalking people and finding information on my classmates like I was like a creep or something. In preparation for the game, I spent $20 or $25 on a long-range water gun, and I was always on guard. I kept goggles within 1 foot of me at all times, maybe around my neck, maybe in my pocket, always next to me while I was sleeping. My mom said she wouldn't let anyone in, so I could win and get the money, but I had those goggles next to me while I slept anyways, just in case. Oh, and I had a spare pair of goggles in my backpack and a third pair of goggles in my car in case someone was smart enough to steal my goggles. But not only did I have those goggles in my car, I also had binoculars and night vision goggles. I kept spare weapons around, the main gun in my car, a spray bottle in my house, a shampoo bottle filled with water that you could squeeze to fire in my room, small water pistols in my locker that I got from a third party who helped me in the game, and we're going to call her Agent Rose because she's more important later. And unsuspectingly, my water bottle was a weapon, which I always kept in my backpack. So the game begins, and my first target happens to be one of my closest friends. Here's how I killed him. I always showed up to first period like less than a minute before the bell would ring, so it would be suspicious if I was seen at school in the early morning to get him. But I came up with this genius plan to check if my target would be vulnerable before school without drawing any suspicion to myself. Because if he finds out that I'm willing to wake up early for this game, then he might be on his guard more because I'd be like a bigger threat, you know? So Agent Rose always went to school pretty early, so it wouldn't be suspicious if I had her walk around the school, find my target, and text me whether or not he had goggles or floaties on. So I had her do that, but he literally wasn't at the school, even though he's always at school early. Apparently, he doesn't show up to school early on Tuesdays, but whatever. We can just do the same plan the next day. Also, an issue with this plan is that my bitch-ass target spent $10 on a premium subscription to the app we used, which means he got live locations for all players, not just the one he's after. Which means if he saw me on my way to school before I normally go, then I'd be hella suspicious and he might be on his guard if he were to notice. but I had a counter to this. You see, if you wrap your phone in aluminum foil, signals bounce off of the foil and don't actually reach your phone. It was a painful and grueling drive to school with no Spotify, but it is what it is. So I get to school, I unwrap my phone, and Agent Rose texts me that the target is in fact vulnerable. No goggles, no floaties. Just to make things easier for me, I had her sitting off to the side in the hallway that my target was in, ready to record it for me, so that I could focus on just shooting him and not having to get a good shot. And I remember this clearly. I was walking up to the second floor. I was waiting for her to text me my cue to come out of the stairwell into the hallway, run down with my water bottle, and slime him out. And I shot all over his body, and he was dead. Or so I thought. So it turns out, when we looked at the recording, my agent recorded the fucking floor. I made sure to shoot him a couple extra times in case she missed it, but she missed those too! And then he, for some reason, decided to put on his gogs, even though he didn't actually know that he was still technically in the game. So I couldn't just shoot him again, so now he knows that I'm his assassin. After this, I started checking his location every single hour of every day, unless I'm at school or sleeping, of course. And you know me, I'm unemployed, so no work. I remember driving to his house at least 7 different times to see if he wouldn't be wearing his goggles when he got out of his car to walk into his house. Also, I used my mom's car instead of mine so that he wouldn't recognize my car sitting across the street from his house. And for this part of the story, you have to keep in mind that you aren't allowed to wear protection while sliming someone out. Somehow I found out that the target of my target was someone that we'll just call Normal Twin for the sake of the story. So Normal Twin is the twin of Scary Twin, whose name will make sense later. On one of the times I checked my phone hourly, I noticed that my target was just chilling at a random gas station kind of far from his home. I know he doesn't have any real business being in that general area, so I called up Normal Twin to warn him. Trying to make connections, you know? Get him on my side. We could scratch each other's back. Also, he had his floaties on, so he was safe anyways. But since he knew that my target / his assassin was in the area, he decided to troll him a little bit. I gave him callouts of his positioning, and Normal Twin ended up shooting my target just to mess with him, even though technically only I'm the one who can take him out. Circling back to Scary Twin, though, he's Scary Twin because I noticed something was off about him at school. The subtle expressions he made when talking to me were just, something is off. He and one other guy who threatened me were my main 2 suspects for who my assassin was. And that kind of sucks, because if I want to set something up so that my target thinks he's eliminating Normal Twin, but then I assassinate him, I could just get assassinated by Scary Twin, because they're twins. They live in the same house. And they also have the same work, too. They're like together a lot. So that's pretty scary. But I ended up planning a setup with them anyways. I was going to have Scary Twin convince my target that Normal Twin didn't have his floaties on, and he could come slime him out at his house as he was walking from his car into the home. But little did my target know, I would be hiding behind a trailer where I would come out and shoot him, and Normal Twin would have his floaties on. And I felt like I was behind that trailer forever. My heart was genuinely pounding, because I knew that there was a good chance Scary Twin was my assassin. I was ready to drop my weapons and book it if I saw that dude leave the house. Oh yeah, another thing, there was like a last minute plan change, so I was already kind of stressed out. Like I had to end up driving somewhere on a whim when it was supposed to be like a different time or something. I don't remember. I do remember busting out the aluminum foil strat again though, but I kind of needed to communicate with them. So I used my dead grandma's phone to communicate, God rest her soul. But anyways, I jump out from behind that trailer and I shoot him down, dude. But I was terrified because the scary twin comes out, I might be dead. As soon as I shot him a couple times, I booked it back to my car. I ran down that street. I ran so hard I got nauseous and I wanted to throw up. And I am so glad that I sprinted because it turns out Scary Twin was my assassin. But actually, I'm not glad that I sprinted because he told me after he got out eventually in the game that he wasn't even going to get me during that instance. So I felt kind of sick for no reason. But I ain't taking any chances, you know. Oh yeah, and also I was so panicked that when I tried to put my goggles on, I just dropped them and kept running away. My gun is pretty unwieldy. It's like a two-hander gun, so I had to carry that, and then like I tried to put on goggles with one hand, but it just wasn't working, so I just dropped them on accident. The twins returned it to me though. One more thing is that my target kind of used the same strat where he would park a little far away and then walk over to their house. I literally saw him drive right by me. I was scared that he would look over and see my face just chilling in a car parked at a random house. And that wouldn't have happened if I parked at the right spot. I kind of parked at the wrong spot originally and I had to move over. But yeah, I got him out a second time. And then I looked at the recording, and because I panicked so hard, I actually missed. I didn't get it. I didn't get me slamming him out on camera. And one could assume that I hit him with my shots, but you just couldn't see the water actually connecting with his body because the camera was shaking too much. So it didn't count. So I would have to try and get him out a third time. On a different day, I was out getting a suit to rent for prom with my mom, and I checked my phone. Target is like an hour away from his house. I was telling my mom, we have to go ASAP so I can camp his house. I had a feeling that since he's so far away, he won't bother to wear his goggles because he would think that I wouldn't go after him. Only reason I wouldn't go after him for 1 hour away is because I was really scared I would drive 1 hour to get him, and since it would take so long to drive, he would already be on his way back. So I wanted to camp his house, and maybe he just didn't bring his goggles with him at all. So I camped his house, waited for him to get there, and I see him come out of his car. No goggles. I get out of my car, I sprint across the street, and I shoot him with a spray bottle I had. Not my big, unwieldy gun that might make recording kind of hard. And I finally got it on film. He'd been eliminated for real. And since I basically had my goggles on at all times, Scary Twin was not able to get me by the end of the week. Therefore, he was eliminated too. Little side story, at some point during the first week, which I don't remember exactly when, 2 of my friends were trying to get me to come out of my house to help them get their targets, which was kind of suspicious, like luring people out of their house in the game about assassinations. But I went out with my gogs. We ended up showing each other our targets, so we were able to make an alliance. We're gonna call these 2 guys Brohemian and Brogert. There was a third bro, but he leaked intel, so he was kicked out of the coalition before I even joined. Ironically, he got slimed out by the girl who ended up being my second target. But anyways, Brogert was driving us around, and Brohemian's assassin was literally camping his house, and we saw him drive by us a couple times. We left that neighborhood and drove kind of far to try and get Brogert's target with some really crappy disguises on. I remember my disguise was just, I ruffled up my hair so that it would fall over the goggles I was wearing on my forehead. But we went into the restaurant she was at, and she had her goggles on, so she was safe, unfortunately. We decided to go after Brohemian's target next. Side note, there was like another bro that was trying to pull up, but we kept driving around and switching locations, so it was hard for him to show up. But we went to this baseball game because that's where Brohemian's target was at, and then that bro showed up. We were hoping we could slime out Brohemian's target as soon as the game ended. So it's like the second that target gets out of the game, we slime him. But he put on his protection too quickly, so it was another failed mission. So it was just 4 bros in the coalition, no ops slimed. It was time to take our leave. So we get in the car. Brogert's gonna drive us all home. And as we got into the car, some of us took our protective gear off. I didn't. But the car door opened and Bohemian's assassin was still on him the whole time. He opens fire on him. I was traumatized. My friend died right in front of my eyes. On the upside, though, a new player was allowed to join the game late. And for her to be able to join the game, some people had to have their targets changed. Luckily for Brogert, he got his target changed. And literally in the same night, he slimed her out at the store as she was buying a water gun. I kind of feel bad for her for dying immediately, but it is completely her fault for dying, to be fair. All you have to do is put on a pair of gogs or floaties. Anyways, the next week starts. I get my new target, the girl who killed the traitor of the coalition who leaked intel. And this girl actually happens to be a good family friend of Agent Rose's, so Rose felt kind of bad helping me out to get her. But I made sure that she was on my side. Okay, I kind of don't remember the order of my attempts to get my second target out, so that might be, the chronology might be a little bit off. There was one time I tried to get her when she was walking Agent Rose's dog. I went to the neighborhood. I hit the brakes kind of hard on my car and sprinted out after her. I feel bad because I genuinely scared her, and I think she even screamed, but she had floaties on. I revealed myself to her like an idiot, dude. I could have sworn she didn't have them on when I drove past her, but I have kind of bad vision, and at the time I didn't own a pair of glasses or any contacts, so that sucked. So right after that, I just parked near her house to try and get her again, but she kept her floaties on. The other time was when I saw she was at Panera, so I went to slime her out. I wanted to try and get in her head and have her think that I wouldn't try that hard to get her. So if I was gonna go out and get her, but she had her floaties on, I wouldn't want her to notice me, because that would mean like, oh, he's really persistent, I should be on my guard more. So instead of going into the Panera to see if she had her floaties on, I just decided I'm gonna park my car and stare at my rear view mirror to see if she'll walk out. If she has her floaties on, I'm leaving, she won't know I was here. If she doesn't, she's dead. But she was in that Panera for hours. I was just staring at my rearview mirror like a psychopath for 2 hours. And I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna go in. She's probably talking to a friend. She could be in there forever. So I just go in with a plastic water bottle that I was gonna use as a weapon. And lo and behold, she has her floaties on, and I was right. She was talking with a friend. Luckily, she didn't even notice me anyways, but I mean, I had to go home after that. Another time I tried to get her was, I saw that she was at her work, so I was just gonna wait for her to clock out and just beat her to her house and then shoot her when she gets out of her car. Hopefully she doesn't have her floaties on. So I just sat at this gas station that's near her house. But the thing is, I didn't actually know how long her shifts were or when they ended. So I was there for like, I don't remember. It was between 1 and 3 hours. Just checking her location every 30 minutes. So yeah, I beat her to her house and she had her floaties on. So didn't matter. A lot of other people were having trouble getting their targets. So we decided to have a purge on Sunday, the last day of the week. And it seemed like that last day would be my only chance to get her. So I wasn't going to try to get her until that day. My plan was to be at her house by 7 or 8 a.m. At the time, I knew which church she went to and the time that it started at. But whatever, I was going to be there at her house before she went to church. So if she comes out to go to church, she's dead. If I somehow missed my chance, she's dead when she comes back. If she skipped church, I was literally going to wait there the entire day. I'm not even joking. I would have music or podcast playing so I wouldn't go insane. I would just be parked on a random part of the street, looking at my mirrors, looking at her house, just waiting for movement. I even had a friend offer to come hang out with me while I was waiting for her. Also, I was going to bring food and water so I don't, die. And I was even more down to no life this game, like more so than usual, because that weekend was when spring break started. I had so much time to do whatever the hell. But this plan never even came to fruition. On Friday, I was tracking her location after school, and I noticed she's driving pretty far down south. Turns out she was going to a beach trip, 3.5 hours away. But I was willing to make that drive for this game. I would wait for Sunday, drive there, slime her out. I highly doubt that she's gonna be on a beach trip indoors all days, even during the purge, and then I would come back home. I even had plans to get back into my house in case someone was waiting at my house to get me as I went from my car into my house. I don't really remember what those plans were, but they were there. But I wasn't able to drive to her. After all the hours and hours I put into this game, and $50 that I put into this game, I spent like $20 on the gun, $10 on premium. Oh yeah. I low-key had to sell out and buy premium after the first week because a few other people had premium and I just didn't like them having that advantage over me, and I thought I was gonna I was pretty sure I was gonna win this game. I feel like this game was literally made for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it back anyways. Then there was some third thing. I don't remember. So I was $50 in the red. But anyways, I wasn't able to go down to the beach and get her. Why? Because mom said no. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I know. Anticlimactic as hell. This might be the most disappointed I've ever been in my entire life. I'm not even exaggerating. My mom just didn't want me to, and I tried to talk her out of it. I could tell she was uncomfortable with the idea of me driving 3.5 hours to the beach and then 3.5 hours back by myself. But when it comes to understanding someone's reason for something, I'm a very 0% appeal to emotions, 100% appeal to reasoning type of guy. So her just seeming uncomfortable wasn't enough. I was arguing with her, not in a heated way, about why I should be allowed to go. And she kept giving these very bad, debunkable reasons, and her arguments were falling apart. But the actual reason she had was literally that she was just anxious or worried about me driving, which she didn't even tell me until I had already lost the game. If she told me that earlier, I wouldn't have even argued with her at all. Even though I didn't like the reason, it's still a reason that holds up and isn't debunkable like the other things she was saying. Another thing is that when I was arguing with my mom, my stepdad started getting upset with me because he thought that I just couldn't accept no as an answer. No, you've got it all wrong. I just don't accept answers with reasons that don't make sense. I'm nervous is a reason that makes sense, but you might get sleepy while driving isn't a reason because I'm not narcoleptic. I wasn't sleep deprived. I had never fallen asleep while driving. And it was just a bunch of other reasons like that are just okay, so that's a non-issue. So on Sunday, I knew I couldn't get her, so I thought, let me text the Senior Assassin group chat something. Whoever has me as a target, I am not going to leave my house unless you pay me $50. And my assassin revealed herself and said, I will pay the $50. So I was pretty happy about that. At least I'm not going to be in the red. I was so confident I would be able to win this game and win the $400, so I didn't really care that I spent $50. But then my mom, my evil mom, I hate her. But it's okay, because I'm going to make my $50 back. Except I'm not going to make my $50 back. My assassin got shot before she got to my house. She was at some restaurant, and someone got her. That's just salt in the wound, bro. I thought I was going to get my $50 back. I want my $50 back. I'm still salty about this game. I didn't even lose to an actual part of the game. I just lost to my mom saying no. This is the saltiest and most disappointed I've ever been. I don't think the salt will ever go away. It's literally been over a year and I still feel like this.